Hello friend, welcome back. Today we're doing what we can do with the MariaDB server monitoring and logs. And if you want to see, the review of the MariaDB server, you can go to the part one and part two. So server monitoring, and let's go here overview of the MariaDB logs. And so there are basically like four logs that get stored. One is the error log, general query log, slow query log, binary log. So error log is like always enabled, usually a file in the data dictionary, and it has some critical errors that are being logged, and you can set it by log underscore warning. Then you go to the general query log, and it is enabled with general dash log, and logs all queries to a file or a table, useful for debugging and auditing queries. So generally, like, you have to go to general query log, which will this will have a detail for the query. And then you have a slow query log enabled by slow dash query dot logs, and logs are queries to a file in a table, and logs okay, and these are the additional parameters which you can follow. Then logs all query that take more than log runtime, so you set this value log underscore query underscore time, and then based on that these queries are logged into the files. So then there is a binary log file enabled by starting log bin and used on a machine that are mainly application master, required for point in time recovery. Binary logs are mainly used by application and can also be used by MySQL bin log to apply on a backup to get the database up to date. Okay, so you set it the parameter like this: set local slow underscore query log is equal to 0, and then set local off and on. Okay, so this way you go, and let's go what is inside the error log file. So the error log contains a record of critical errors that occur during the server's operation, table corruption, and start and stop information. So basically, it contains the four things, which is like a server operation, table corruption, and start and stop information. And how do you go with? Okay, so you set this parameter at the global level. Set global log underscore warning is equal to 3, and it will just write down the log files into the data. So generally your log files are inside the data directory, okay, by default. And once you set this parameter, it will unlog. So there are different label like 1 2 3 4 9. Okay, so based on what of the detail you required it, you can just go about setting it up. So okay, setting the language. So there is an option, MariaDB server errors are default by English. However, might support different language. So if you want to support with a different language, you have to change the permissions like this, and this is the way you have to. So you have to put the in option file. You have to put language equal to French, and or maybe you can specify the storing language, and that way it will work out. So okay, general query. So what did it say? It says the general query log is a log of every SQL query received from a client, as well as each client connect and disconnect. It's a record of every query received by server. It can grow a large quite quickly. However, if you only want a record of a query that changed data, it might be better to use the binary log instead. One important difference is that the binary log only logs a query when the transaction is committed by the server, but the general query logs every query. So basically, general query, if it is enabled, it will put you everything onto the log file. But if you put the binary log enabled, it will only let me move this. Okay, yeah, so it will only log those query which only log those query which are committed by the server. So how do you enable the general query? You can set the global parameter, set global general log is equal to 1, and this gets your log set up. Okay, and then you can also give the log file name, which is like by setting this global parameter. So basically what you have to do, what I've seen, like and so when you want to put the log to it, so you can put set global log underscore output is equal to table, and this way you can also make a query, select asterisk from mysql dot general log this, and it will give you this thing. Okay, how do you disable it? So you put it SQL log off is equal to 1, and then you can rotate it based on your this thing. Okay, so rotation means like you are just recycling it. Okay, so now you go to the slow query log. So what is the main function of this slow query log is that you can exclusively decide what type of the query that needs to be logged, which takes a certain amount of the time. So how do you do it? So you set a global parameter, set global slow query log is equal to 1, and you can also put the slow query log file name, and okay, so you're choosing. Okay, so you can also choose the output, it will come as a file, and you can also put it global log put is equal to table, and then if you query select asterisk from mysql.slow log, it will okay. So how do you disable it? You disable it by 0, and this is the way that I was talking. Log query time is equal to 5. So generally the 5 would be default is 10, the 5 is like 5 milliseconds. Okay, and they can also use set global log query not using the indexes. So you can also log those query which are not using the indexes, and minimum row limit, this you can do it. Logging slow alternative statement, so you can go slow low statement. So I think this is the most important thing. See what happens, like if you go for the general query, it logs everything, and it becomes difficult at your end, so it will log everything which comes to the server. If you want to look for only those query which has committed, use the binary log. But if you want to specify in general the way you want to look it for, you have to identify the slow query log, and then there are so many other options which you can through which you can get in which you can get the things logged at the very best way. Okay, now let's come to slow query log standard statistics. So these are the additional parameter: log slow verbosity, log slow filter, log slow rate limit. So you can just read these, and these will help you to further verbose the further verbose the this thing. Okay. Okay, now come to MySQL dump slow. MySQL to examine the slow. So this is the tool MySQL dump slow is used to examine the slow query log, and how do you use it? So these are the additional options which you can put it, and you can go for example, like you only consider that include this strand. So you have to put MySQL dump -g and then the log file name, and and pattern, basically the pattern, and then so MySQL dump is to how do you read those file. Okay, how do you rotate the log file? That's important. So how do you do this? So unique notation offer the log rotate utility, which makes very easy to rotate log file. This page, okay. So first you have to configure location and file names of the log in the option file. So you put log error, general log file name, slow query log file, so all these names. Then you have to make a directory, relevant directory, okay, this, and then give it the permissions and owners and change, and then if you're using, then you also need to set this context to the directory. So this is a condition. If you are using SE Linux, then you have to use this. So this is the command, and then then there are options. So okay, then there are options. How do you configure log rotate? So this is the way you create a log rotate. Okay, so you create a basically file MariaDB EOF, and then you put certain conditions here. So in which so these conditions are what? So the minimum size has to be 1 MB, max size is 100 MB, rotate after 30 days, and then a certain condition that needs to be met, and then you set up yeah, and then once you have all this, then you just run this sudo log rotate -4. So basically what happens, this is your configuration file. Log rotate is your functionality, and you rotate like this. Okay, and then once you do it, and so it will zip it and put it here. So basically it's like a more of a scheduler, and log rotate helps it. So binary log files. Okay, so what file this file does, so okay, we will see overview of the binary log file. The binary log file contains a record of all changes to the database, both data and structure, as well as how long each statement took to execute. It consists of a set of okay, so binary set of binary log files and index. This means that a statement such as create, alter, insert, update, and delete will be logged, but statements that have no effect on the data, such as select and so, will not be logged. If you want to log these, then you have to perform additional activity. So there are, if we see how do you activate the binary log. So you go to ls-l, so you put a set SQL log underscore win 0 and 0. So 0 is off, and binary. So there are three formats for the binary. The default is the statement based login, while robust login and a mix of two formats are also possible. Okay, and how do you use and maintain? So use like, okay, so this is the way purge binary logs to this purge log before. So there is a time, if you purge binary logs before, so this will purge the binary log, and this will purge the, okay, so this is purge the logs. So basically this will purge to this, and this will, okay. So now let's see, okay, okay, that's fine. I think we are good here. And let me close a few of the tabs here. And what are the binary log format? I think there are three formats that we discussed: statement based logging, mixed logging, and a row based logging. Okay, And so you can set this format by setting it to global row and the first format. And okay, and binary logging and stored routines. Binary logging and stored how MariaDB handles statement with binary logging of routine. The binary log is enabled and the binary log format system is set to statement. When a stored function is created, it must be declared as either deterministic, NoSQL, or read SQL data, or else an error will occur. MariaDB cannot check whether a function is deterministic and relies on the correct definition being used. To create and modify stored function, a user requires a super privilege as well as a regular privilege. Triggers works in the same way, except that they are always assumed to be deterministic. Okay, triggers can also be updated. For an example, so a deterministic function create function this return it, so you put this value deterministic and then you do it. Non-deterministic, so you just do a normal functions. Okay, and okay, so binary logs, how do you see the binary logs? So you just do show binary logs, it will give you the details of the log name and the size. Okay, and you can also do it so master logs and it will work that way. How do you purge it? So we have already seen it. Let's re-review it once again. So how do you purge it? So you can purge it in three way. Purge binary logs to Maria bin, purge binary logs before this particular date, purge binary logs before, and you can even with the specific times. Okay, so okay, now so bin log events, and let's see how to read this thing. Okay, so bin log events in MySQL. So basically when you run this command, it will give you log name, position, event type, server ID, and log and info. So what is the info about it? Okay, now so master status. So how do you do that? You just type a command, so master status, it will give you the further details. And then how do you bin log event checksum? How do you do that? So feature called checksum. In when checksums are enabled with this, the variable can be changed. Which okay, applications will check event received over the network for the checksum error and will stop with error if the corrupt event is checked. So basically, what is the checksum? So checksum is like you're sending a packet of the data over the network, so it will check if the packet is corrupt or not. So if so what do you so this is one, this is called checksum. So checking the packet of the data for any block corruptions, this is called checksum. So this is a feature which can be enabled on the slave and a master. So basically once it reaches to the slave or once it goes to the master, it has to verify from the other area. Okay, so what is the bin log event checksum interoperability? So you can, while using client program, there are similar issues. So I think this is just for info, no need to bother much. And group commit for binary. Okay, let me open these all tabs here so that it will be a bit fast, and rather than me clicking it back to back. So yeah, open lang, replay, and I think the next time I'll open these log files so that we will be okay. So group commit for the binary log. So the server supports group commit. This is an important optimization that helps MariaDB reduce the number of expensive decisions that are performed. Okay, so this is a concept which is a performance improvement concept from the MariaDB, which reduces the number of the expensive disk operations that are performed. Durability. In ACID terminology, the D stands for durability. In order to ensure durability with group commit, IMDb flash log add transaction is equal to commit and a sync bin log is equal to 1 should be set. These settings are needed to ensure that if the server crashes, then any transaction that was committed prior to the time of the crash will still be present after crash recovery. Durable InnoDB data in a binary log, setting both flush log at transaction commit 1 and sync binary logs equal to provide the most durability and the best guarantee. Non-durable InnoDB, non-durable. So these are the different things, and how do you set these things? Is so global status. This is the way you see the status. So global status where variable name in bin log commit. So it will give actually what is the value is, and based on those values, you can decide it. Okay. Now, what is the MySQL bin log? So MySQL bin log is an utility to process bin log in a relay log. So how do you do it? Yeah, these are the additional options. So let's try to see this. And I think yeah. So you go to the cell and then you have MySQL MariaDB. So basically you MySQL. So you go to the cell and this utility will be inside the MariaDB bin directory, and if you have set the path, it will automatically pick it. Search in those bin directory, pick it the path, put the file name here, and then you can have an additional options how to do it. So these are the additional options which in which you can customize your log file to look for the specific piece of info if you want to. Then So another row log event, row events describe the query which calls the row event. Okay, so these are the examples. So drop database if exists, test, create database test, use test, create table, create insert into T1. Okay, so okay, this is the way you create your database. Then you use test. So basically you are setting the environment test. Then inside that you are using the table, inserting into values. Okay, and then you deleted it. Okay, now you have already enabled the bin log. So okay, now so bin log event. So this is the way. So basically what happened, whatever you committed, okay, inserted and also basically, okay, so these will save whatever the thing, okay, you is thing. So you can even use mislog and this particular conditions to see for what is the piece of info. Okay, and bin log, okay, this is the same as this thing, and let's see what is there, and we'll go it bit fast. We have another 13 minutes and we'll try to cover more of these documents. Transaction coordinator log overview. The transaction are used to coordinate transactions that affects multiple XA capable storage engines. If you have two or more XA capable storage engines, then a transaction coordinator log must be available. So basically, as the name says, it coordinates the transaction across the multiple high availability. Okay, and then there is a memory based. Then okay, so you just need to enable it, and mode of crash recovery, there is an automatic. How do you recover it? And these things helps so these things will give you an info how to read about it. And then okay, how you have an option to encrypt the binary log file. How do you do it? uh, So MariaDB server can encrypt the server binary log and reload, ensure that your binary logs are accessible through MariaDB. Basic configuration is this. So you go to the option file, you set this thing, files, basically certificates, files and all, and then you enable encrypt underscore bin log is equal to 1, and then you wrote enable encryption, then you disable it, and you have to understand how do you enable the binary log. Flashback is like getting the database to the some old restore point. So flashback that will allow instance data table to be rolled back to an old snapshot. Okay, so this is the way, right? With the table nativity you can compare the output with and without it. Okay, and common use cases, you have a master and one started with flashback, something goes wrong, invoke. So there is an option to flashback. So relay logs, the relay is a set of log files created by replica during replication. So these log files are created when there is a replication. It is the same format as the binary log, containing a record of events that affect the data or structure. Thus mine can be used. Okay, creating relay log file name, viewing relay log file, removing. Okay, so there is an option. How do you do it? So basically you get the cat file, and then so you can, okay, and what are the different variables for replication, and also is the auto increment, auto increment offset, bin log, annotate row events, bin log cache size, bin log checksum, bin log commit wait events. So these are the different environment variables. So you can use it to you know yeah, to check out for this thing. Okay, let me close all these steps quickly, and let's go to the another this thing. So we covered this, and let's go back here and see. uh, so there are further okay, let me go back here. Okay, so you have an InnoDB redo log file, InnoDB undo log, myISM log, transaction coordinator log, SQL error plugin log, writing log, performance schema. Okay, so I think these are the additional logs, and you can just go through it. And I was just trying to give you so let's go to the performance schemas, and okay, so what does this says? That's so important. So it says, okay, there is a list of performance schema tables, performance schema account table, performance schema conditions, so the event stage. So basically these are the tables which will have a different okay, let's open this, what it says, the definition point. Okay, so client, so these are the different tables inside the MariaDB which captures most of the info, and you can query these tables to get the details. So basically if you want to look for a client account connection status, you go to the account table, you go to the synchronization objects, current stage events, you go to this table, event stage. So same way you can read this table, and there are so many other tables. And if you want to know host name, you go to the host and cache connections by host. So what I understood, like in the MariaDB, most of the informations are getting stored in the table, so you can query these particular tables and get it. So I'll just click on it, but I don't think it's required further to, so there are the columns names, and you can definitely go ahead and read about it. Okay, so now comes to MariaDB audit plugin, and let's see what it says. So MariaDB and a MySQL are used in a broad range of environments, but if you needed to record user access to be compliance with auditing regulation for your organization, you would probably you would probably previously have had to use other database solution to meet this need. MariaDB has developed the MariaDB audit plugin. So these are the plugins. Although the MariaDB audit plugin has some unique feature available only for MariaDB console used for MySQL. Basically, the purpose of to log the server's activity for each client is when it records who connects to the server, what query were executed, and which tables were accessed. The MariaDB audit works with the MariaDB started. Okay, so these are the additional info. How do you do it? So you have an installation, configuration, log setting, log location and rotation, log format, status variable, system variable, release date, and you can then web log activity. So you can just go to these installation, configuration, log format, and these are the additional info. How do you set it up? Okay, now come to back to the MariaDB administration, and let's see partitioning tables. Okay, we'll go with the standard definition rather than me. So partitioning of in MariaDB, a table can be split into smaller subset, both data and indexes. Uses of partition very big table indexes can be slow even with the optimized query. Partners allow one to distribute files over multiple storage devices. For example, we can have storage on a slower large disk and the frequent SSD in case we separate. Okay, partition was specific. Spider allow one to move partition same table or different server, all partition. Okay, so these are the spiders option and connect. Okay, partitioning type. So you can have a partitioning type, a partition when the you should decide. Okay, what? Okay, Mario. Okay, so plugging. Okay, and then so the basic partitioning. What are the partitioning types you have? Then you have partitioning, pruning and selections, maintenance limitation, and partitioning metadata. Okay, so just you need to know that the list partitioning allow range partitioning or range columns and list partitioning types. So there is another difference. Okay, and variable copying, variable and modes. Let's see, we have already seen the audit plugins. So full list of MariaDB system and status variables. So this contains the list of the variables available. Server status variables, server system variables, old mode to list to emulate behavior from older MariaDB and MySQL version. SQL modes used to emulate behavior from the other SQL server, Microsoft SQL Server compatibility mode. So these are the subset of Oracle PSS. So these are the mode when you set it up. You can actually have those. So when you said, let's say SQL mode is equal to Oracle. So when you set this thing, you have an option to the query which you are running, the way you interpret your query in the Oracle side, it will try to run in that way. Okay, so you can able to correlate the overall functionality difference between how your query performs in the MariaDB level and the Oracle level. So there is an option that you can copy the tables between a different MariaDB and MariaDB servers. Okay, so you have to go flush table name for export. Okay, the normal proceed, and then you unlock it, and then basically what is happening. Okay, when you enable this mode for export, then you can copy the relevant file and once this is done, you can unlock it. Okay, so efficient way to give someone else access to read only tables. So basically you create a new table, alter new table, disable key, insert. Okay, and then copy table into some locations, and then you give it access. Okay, so that is about this thing. Let's see what's more here in the MariaDB administration. So we have completed, and okay, so in the next thing we will talk about MariaDB applications. Okay, okay, yeah, thank you, see you back again.